Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on here and show you how I made my citrus garland. I've actually never made citrus garland before, so this will be a first for all of us. I've been scrolling on Pinterest for a while, like I normally do, like I've been doing since I was 12, and I've always loved the idea of dried citrus as garland. So of course, I started back on Pinterest to get an idea of what I should do for this garland. The first thing I saw was that I need to get a grapefruit for color, some oranges, some lemons, some limes. It also suggested some other different types of fruits, but I didn't want to go overboard, especially since this is the first time I've ever made this. Looking back, I do wish I would have gotten more grapefruit. So I started off by cutting up all of the fruit, and this took maybe 30 minutes, and that's mainly because I just kind of suck with cutting up fruit, and I kept taking breaks. Now, this is where I start to make my very first mistake. I started out this video on Thanksgiving. If you guys saw my video about Thanksgiving, then you know that I had to stay at home that day. And since I had to stay at home that day, I figured it was the perfect time to get started on this garland. But that also meant that my husband wasn't going to be home to help me. And you may be thinking, why do you need your husband's help? It's just fruit garland. Well, I actually didn't think I would need his help, but it wasn't until he got home that I realized I had really messed up. See, my first mistake was trying to dehydrate all of this fruit in the oven. And I was really ignorant to think that I could put it at a really high temperature and that would help dehydrate it quicker, but I was wrong. It just burnt the fruit. And so I looked up what temperature I needed to put the oven on, and it said like 170 for about 6 hours. And I immediately began to feel disappointment. But at this point, that hadn't happened yet. So I was still feeling really hopeful. Oops, sorry about that. All right, here I am in super speed finishing up that slicing. And the finished product. And this is where I start to realize what I've gotten myself into. This is my first time checking on the fruit, and I thought it'd be the last. I thought I'd be able to go ahead and put the next batch in. And if you can't tell already, this tray of fruit was still really juicy. So here I am poking all of them to see if they're actually juicy or if they just look like that. And I decided maybe flipping them all over would help dry them out quicker. So this is when I resorted to Google, which is probably what I should have done from the get-go, but I'm a little stubborn. So I started loading up another tray and put that in the oven. And here's how I feel about all of that so far. So yeah, anyways, I gave up for the day. And here I am 4 days later, finally finishing the project. Yep, I did it. I dehydrated all of that. And you might be thinking, well, did you do it in your oven? And the answer is no. See, the whole reason I needed my husband, other than the fact of me cutting this twine with a knife, was because the very first thing that he said when he came home on Thanksgiving was, "What are you trying to do? You know we have a dehydrator, right?" And I'm going to pause real quick and let you guys look at that difference. The orange slice on the right was from the oven, and the orange on the left was from our dehydrator. And what I didn't realize was that our air fryer was actually a dehydrator too. But don't worry, I still messed up one more time. For this next part, I needed to thread the slices of citrus onto this twine, and I obviously wasn't thinking. And of course, I was being stubborn again, and I wanted to figure it all out on my own. And I did. I figured it out, but it just took me one whole time of messing up to realize that I had messed up. And now you're gonna see what I mean. And a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Release them. You guys do see that, right? So here I am thinking maybe the spacing's just off, but then I realized I just did it all wrong. So I decided to take a mental break and then start fresh with the nice colorful slices. The problem was I had only made one hole in the slices and not two. Of course, I had to go back to Pinterest to see my original inspiration for this entire project. Here's that picture. So obviously I didn't want to make an exact replica of that image. I really just wanted to do all different fruits and keep the twine visible for a more, I don't know, holistic look. I don't really know if that's the right word. Maybe just more earthy, more natural. And I got the first orange slice on there and it looked perfect. Look at that. And I got the second slice on too, but I realized it was going to take a while, so I got a chair so I could have a seat. And here's another super speed because that took forever. But anyways, here I am admiring the final product. Well, almost final product. Here's the final product. You can just see how happy I am. I really am just so happy and proud of myself for how this turned out. It looks exactly how I wanted it to look. And here's what it looks like on my banister. Guys, I really love it so much. And I know I didn't show you what I did with the other slices, but I promise I recorded that and I'll show you later. Bye, thanks for watching.